Good morning, guys. It is StevieB here at the wonderful Boreas Outpost. Thank you for coming to another video sponsored by earnped.com, the website where you can learn and earn. You will notice today I am wearing my trademark blue underwear and my wonderful Optimus Prime helmet. Have the exact same helmet in real life. Hope to be streaming with it on a webcam near you soon for our nightly Twitch streams. So, had a little bit of free time this morning, wanted to make a couple of videos for the YouTube channel. Some people asked me about some different things on the stream last night that I felt were very important. So I wanted to go ahead and try and make some videos over a few things while we had a few free moments this morning. So the first thing up on today's topic list is item tiers. So I'm actually at Boreas Outpost. I'm going to use the auction to give you guys a little bit of variety. Hopefully we can find some very, very good examples here this morning. So every item, or most items, are going to have item tiers. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that does not. But let's look specifically at weapon item tiers because I want to show you not only kind of how they function and what they do, I also want to give you guys some examples of how they can help you earn PED, because item tiers can help you earn way more PED than most people realize. So first of all, let's look at the difference between a limited item and an unlimited item. For those of you who are very, very new to the game, unlimited items are items that can be repaired. Okay, so this is going to be usually the more expensive items that you're going to run into. So example, this is the Vincent DPS LR 3710 edition. It's an unlimited item, which means it can be repaired, right? So whenever this gun fully decays, you can take it to a repair terminal, you can pay some PED, you can repair it, you don't constantly have to replace it. That's good because this is a very, very, very rare gun. You'll see down here at the bottom, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in Roman numerals, where these enhancer sockets are. And then over here we've got several locked enhancers for sockets 8, 9, and 10. This plays directly into item tiers, what they do, how they function, and how they can make you PED. But what you need to know right off bat is this is an example of an unlimited item, alright? Now let's look under weapons. Let's go with the Armatrix series. These are limited weapons. You can notice that in the title they have a little L in parentheses next to the name. Limited items cannot be repaired, guys. They can't be. They decay and eventually they get down to 0, and once they're there, they're just useless. You got to throw them away. The only way to get rid of them is to sell them to the trade terminal once they're fully devalued, right? So with limited items, you have to buy them over and over and over again, which means you have to pay markup over and over and over again. So the thing about limited items is that markup, as you can see for the BC70, it's anywhere from 143 to 161%. You have to pay over and over and over again. With an unlimited item, you buy it once, repair it as many times as you want, and as long as it's continuing to do the job you need it to do, you're good to go, right? So what's really cool with limited items is that they tier automatically. Now, you'll notice if I go to the show detailed info page for the item, at the very bottom, underneath all the skills and profession and attacks per minute and stuff, it's got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, all the way to tier 10. And it's got these little numbers over here on the right, 66, 10, so on and so forth, right? So these numbers determine how quickly the item will reach that tier. So it's going to reach tier 1 quicker than tier 2 because tier 1 is 66, tier 2 is 10, right? Now guys, these are absolutely horrible numbers for a limited item. I'll show you a good example of a high tier limited item here in a moment, but right now let's look at this one because this is absolutely horrible. So here's the deal, guys. On any item, limited or unlimited, this is what determines how quickly you reach that tier level, is this tier value right here, right? Now, it's going to be easier to reach tier 1 than tier 2. It's going to be easier to reach tier 2 than tier 3 than tier 4, so on and so forth. So as you go further down in the tier list, ideally you want to see higher and higher and higher tier values. This weapon would be much more desirable if tier 2 was 100 and tier 3 was 300 and tier 4 was 700 and so on and so forth than it would be this way, because a value of 21 on tier 10 is much more difficult to reach than a value of 21 on tier 1, if that makes sense. So the good news is with unlimited items, when we do reach those tiers, these sockets down here at the bottom, they will automatically open up for us with limited items. Now that's good, but remember, limited items you do have to eventually throw away because they do eventually become worthless, right? So that's kind of the downfall to limited items. But the good news is the tier rates on limited items can be much higher than they are on unlimited items. So let's look at one of my favorite weapons, the LR15, and let's see if we can find an example of a good tier rate LR15. Okay, that one sucks. By good tier rates, I'm looking for stuff that says 2,000 to 4,000 in every one of these. So we're not just going with double digits or triple digits, guys. On limited items, if I say high tier rate, I'm looking for these numbers to all be between 2,000 and 4,000 or even higher. I talked to somebody last night that said they'd seen tier rates up to 5,000, and I don't think I've ever seen one that had 5,000 as a value, but I have seen some 4,500s. So you'll notice this one is the best of the three that we've just looked at. It's still not by any means good. If this was an unlimited item, this would be better, but still not great. But it's the best of the three that we've looked at in the past 30 seconds or so. So let's keep going down the list here. No. Boy, we're just not having a ton of luck this morning. Nope. Nope. And after I explain a little bit about the tier rates, I'll explain how this can actually make you guys some PED. More ways than you think. And some ways that people really overlook. No. Okay, so we kind of struck out on the LR15. Let's go with a less popular model. Let's go with the BP15. Let's see here. Okay, this one's better. Still not something I would consider good. Again, for good, I want to see 2,000 through 4,000 on every single one of these numbers, but better. Nope. Wow, we are just not having good luck this morning. Not at all. Okay, let's go for the BC15. Nope. Nope. And guys, you're not likely to find them right off the bat every time. They are a little bit rare. If they weren't rare, they couldn't make you PED, right? There's a reason for that. There's a reason that most limited items don't ever get past tier 1 or tier 2. They just simply deteriorate too fast and their tier rates are too low. If you're lucky, a limited item might get to tier 1, 2, or 3 most of the time, right? It doesn't happen all the time, and you very rarely get beyond that. This is actually something I stumbled on. Here we go. Okay, so this is a little bit better. Still not one I would consider purchasing, but we notice that the tier rate for tier 1 is 2520. Tier rate for tier 2 is 1196. And then we've got 460, 617, 670, 438, another 2,000 plus here on tier 7, and a 2,700 on tier 9, followed by an 800 on tier 10. So this is a great example. You will notice these do exist. They are out there. You just have to look really hard for them, right? And you're not going to find them all the time. You're not going to find them easily, but this is a much higher tier gun. So this gun is going to reach tier 1 and tier 2 lightning fast. It might reach tier 1 with 2 or 3 trigger pulls. It's going to get to tier 3, 4, and 5. I would say over the useful life of this weapon, if you did things right, you could probably get this to tier 7. Now, tier 8 only being 323, you're not very likely to get there. This gun would probably completely deteriorate, but you would probably get it to tier 7 before it did if you did things right? So ideally, we want weapons that have tier values of 2,000 or more, preferably as close to 4,000 or even higher as possible in each one of those 10 slots. They are hard to find. They do pop up every now and then because those are the ones that can really make us some PED. As you can see, we're not finding any that match that description this morning off bat, but I'll use the one we just looked at as an example because it could potentially do part of the job that we're wanting it to do. So as a limited weapon tiers, those sockets automatically unlock down here at the bottom, these enhancer sockets, right? Now, the thing about it is, with an unlimited weapon, those enhancer sockets do not automatically unlock. You actually have to go through the tier upgrading process. So once you get to where it's able to be tiered, it will tell you to take it up to tier 1. You're going to need this many emeralds, this many acid root, this many blazer fragments. Blazer fragments are used almost every tier of every weapon I've ever seen that's an unlimited weapon, which is why blazer fragments have such huge demand, especially for your uber weapons that need to reach their uber tiers. Guys, it can take thousands and thousands of US dollars simply to take a weapon from tier 9 to tier 10 if it's an unlimited weapon, right? So very, very expensive process, but again, it's potentially worth doing on unlimited weapons because that value's there. It doesn't decay and then you got to throw it away. With an unlimited weapon, you can repair it, right? So it can be worth doing. When you open up these enhancer sockets, whether it's a limited weapon that does it automatically with high tier values or an unlimited weapon where you have to slowly do it with paid tiers that you actually go in and add items to tier it up. Note, guys, that on an unlimited item, you're never going to see values of 2,500 or 1,100. With an unlimited item, I look for items that have tier rates that are at least 3 digits in every category. That's what I'm looking for on an unlimited item. Give you an example. My A3 Justifier MK2 adjusted, it's tier 6.1. Notice it's got pretty decent tier values. It was 99, 94, 53. Then we had several 3 digits, followed by a 76, 106, and a 55. This is actually a pretty good example of a high tier rate adjusted MK2. To give you guys an example of how hard it is to tier up an unlimited item, to reach tier 7, it's showing us a tier rate of 112, right? So to go from tier 6 to tier 7, the tier rate's 112. I had it as a fresh 6.0. I took it from a 5.9, I tiered it up to a 6.0 right before Easter Mayhem. I was killing a creature in the Mayhem instance every 4 to 6 seconds for 10 straight hours, and after 10 straight hours it moved from a 6.0 to a 6.1. So that is a lot of rounds you have to shoot through to move it 1/10 of a tier, much less a full tier. And if you guys notice, after tier 7, it's going to be even harder to reach tier 8 because I've got that measly 76. Then for tier 9, it would have a 106, and then tier 10 is going to take forever with a tier rate of 55. So unlimited items are always going to have much, much lower tier rates. You want it to preferably be 3-digit numbers all the way across. The limited items, though, definitely, since they tier automatically and since they do have a limited shelf life, you want those tier rates as close to the highest possible digits of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, whatever the top is that you can possibly find. If you could get 4,000 tier rates on every single one of these tiers, that would be an impeccable weapon. It would tier incredibly fast. So, guys, the reason tier rates are so important is they're very, very misunderstood. Most people don't even know what I just explained to you guys. Most people think weapons just tier randomly. That is not the case. Most people also don't understand when you need to use enhancers and when you don't. Sorry guys, it's early. I'm drinking coffee as I do this. So this is where you can actually make some PED. If you'll notice, guys, this weapon right here that's got these high tier rates is priced right about the same as the weapons with really crappy tier rates, right? This is a little bit of a market opportunity. Now, if this weapon was a little bit better, if all of these were 4-digit numbers, I would probably snap this up. Reason being is there's a way you can take these weapons if they've got super high tier rates, and you can just use them a little bit, and you can actually keep the decay lower than it naturally should be, and you can open those tier sockets up. And once those tier sockets are opened, it's got a lot of useful life left. It's got a lot of TT value left people are oftentimes willing to pay a very, very high premium for those weapons. So you don't have to do anything special. If you can find a very, very high tier weapon, let's say all these values were 2,000, 3,000, or 4,000, right? And it's priced the same as any other version of the weapon. You can snag it off auction, and what you can do is you can get one of these bad boys. This is an Armatrix Extender P20 Limited. This absorbs 20% of the deterioration that a weapon has, right? So it starts off with a full 200 PED TT value. You can pick these up on auctions for 106% markup, roughly 212 PED for 200 TT value. So I can throw it on a weapon and it's going to absorb 20% of that deterioration. You can see I've done that already. I had it on a weapon and the weapon should have decayed 4.48 TT value. Instead, this extender took that. So part of the reason I have these extenders is when I find high tier weapons, what I do is I just attach it to the weapon, just drag and drop like so, and it's going to take 20% of that decay, right? By doing that, I extend the life of the weapon. That's very, very important whenever I find high tier weapons because I want them to have as much useful life as they possibly can once I get them to the tier rate I want them to be at. That's what's going to make them desirable. Once I have those enhancement sockets open, I want that weapon to have a lot of useful life left because now I'm going to resell it to somebody else for a much higher markup, right? So here's the thing, guys. Whenever you're using that strategy to make PED, whenever you're trying to find these weapons on auction, pick them up for about regular market rate, open up these enhancer sockets, all you have to do is literally throw one of these extenders on it and then just use it a little bit. You don't actually have to worry about adding enhancers to it. Your goal is just to open the enhancement sockets and then throw it back on auction or resell it for a much higher price, right? So the way that we get those tier rates to work is we would literally just take the gun, throw the extender on it, take it out here, shoot a couple of creatures. As we shoot, those tiers are going to unlock. Those sockets are going to unlock. And then once we had it to whatever tier we wanted it at, we would stop using it. We would take the extender off and then we would put it up for sale either on auction or in private trade, right? So that's one of the ways right off the bat that just knowing how to read tier rates can really make you some PED. Armatrix LR15. Again, back to my favorite gun. Guys, you'll actually see me do this quite often. There will be a weapon that I need to use. In fact, I'm going to do it right now because I've got one in mind. BP20. Some of you guys know I have the unlimited version of this weapon from the FEN event. To give you guys an example here, this is it. My Armatrix BP20 FEN edition. Now, you'll notice this has 83% efficiency and it's an unlimited weapon. There's only 15 of these in game. They go for about $1,000 to $1,100 US pretty regularly. I got mine for well below that because I'm the original owner. I got it directly from the FEN token trader during the FEN event for FEN Platinum tokens. You'll notice though down here at skills, I still cannot quite use it to the full attacks per minute, nor can I do quite the full damage interval, and my hit ability and my critical hit ability are absolutely abysmal. Now, it's an unlimited weapon, so I have to pay to tier it up. It doesn't have the greatest of tier rates, but it's a super rare uber weapon to begin with. This was just kind of luck of the draw, so I'm happy with it, but I'd really like to start using this weapon a lot due to the extreme high efficiency. I just don't have the skills yet. So ideally, I want to find the similar weapon like the Armatrix BP20 Limited. Let's take a look at one that I can use to essentially skill for free. So notice that the regular limited version has much lower efficiency, only 63%. You'll notice that I am much closer to maxed on it. I've got more attacks per minute. I can do the full damage interval. My hit and critical hit still need help. But how I can skill for free by using this tier system is I'm looking for one that's got high tier rates, and if I can find one with high enough tier rates, I can buy it, throw an extender on it, use it, open up those enhancement sockets, then turn around and actually sell it back for more than I paid for it and probably generate a profit doing it. It's a really good way to be able to skill essentially for free and probably make profit in the process. Now this morning there's not one on auction that's a high enough tier rate for me to be able to do that with, but that's what I'm going to be trying to do over the next couple of days. So something else that you guys want to look at when you're looking at tier rates. Now that we know kind of how they function and what they do, what you want to look at is you want to look at when you want to use these enhancement sockets. So why would somebody pay for a limited item that they know is going to deteriorate whenever the enhancement sockets are open? Why would they pay more money for that? Well, guys, this is exactly how I won Christmas Mayhem. Halloween Mayhem 2018 was my very first Mayhem. Christmas Mayhem 2018 I won, and Easter Mayhem 2019 I won. So Christmas was the first one I competed in, and I did it using nothing but limited weapons, guys. So let me hop over to my storage. I want to see if I can find a good example here. First of all, let's find a good example. Tier 10, right here. So this is one that I've actually already tiered up all the way to tier 10, guys. This is a limited weapon. And perfect example, look at these tier rates. 2700, 3200, 2800, 2700, 2800, 2700, 1100, 3100, 1200, 3100 for tier 10. Awesome tier rates. So that's how I got this weapon all the way to tier 10, all sockets unlocked before it was fully decayed. Notice there's still 16.5% useful life left, right? So by having this weapon fully unlocked with all the enhancer sockets, I can now go in and change the way this weapon functions. So, example, this right here. I'm going to go ahead and pin this over here, guys. This right here is a weapon damage enhancer 1, right? So they have weapon damage enhancers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through 10. The number at the end tells you which socket it goes in. Enhancer socket increases damage, energy burn, and deterioration. Now what it doesn't say is by 10%. So every time you add a damage enhancer to one of the sockets, it's going to increase the damage the weapon does, the ammo burn, and the deterioration all by 10%. So another great reason that if you're using a tiered limited weapon and you're increasing the deterioration, another great reason to use those extenders, right? So if I take this enhancer and I add it to the enhancement socket like so, only for items in your inventory, and that's in my storage. Okay, so let's bring it over here first. Bring it over here in my carried inventory. Okay, carried inventory, item. I can now drag and drop the enhancers into the enhancer socket. You'll notice it goes here. And notice all of a sudden we have orange. Now my weapon does 10% more damage. It's got 10% more ammo burn. It also has 10% more decay, right? So I can completely fill up these sockets with damage enhancers. I can literally double the DPS of this weapon. So the damage per second naturally is 38. I can literally double that if I fill up all 10 of these enhancer sockets. This is a key to any Mayhem event. Whenever your category has a DPS limit, category 1, for example, DPS limit is 34 DPS, 34 damage per second, right? You cannot just go get an LR15 off auction that does 33.6 DPS and even stand a chance of winning Mayhem, because the people who win are going to have tier 10 weapons. All these sockets are going to be open. They're going to add damage enhancers to every single one, so their weapon is going to be doing twice the DPS of yours, right? And that's how I won. I'm sorry, I keep saying Halloween. That's how I won Christmas Mayhem for Category 1 using nothing but limited weapons. I'd gone to the auction early. I'd found weapons that had super high tier rates. I had put the extenders on them. I'd gone and used them just until I got them to socket 9 or socket 10 being open, depending on which weapon it was. And then I would just save them. And whenever Mayhem rolled around, I filled them up with damage enhancers. And that's actually what I used for my Mayhem run for Christmas, was nothing but limited weapons. I switched that up come Easter because that's a very, very expensive way to win Mayhem. It's a very expensive way to run. And for Easter, I got the A3 adjusted MK2. Luckily, I was able to make it tier 6. It's one of only a couple tier 6s in game. I think there's only one tier 7 in game. And then I also had a few leftover high tier Armatrix weapons for Category 1, and I used a couple of those as well, but I mainly used this bad boy, right? So that's one reason that you want high tier unlimited weapons, especially later on in game, is if you're going to compete in competitions like Mayhem, you have to have them. That's one of the reasons they're so freakishly expensive. Let me see if I can get a good example here. The Jungle Stalker 8.9. This is ready to be made tier 10. This is a weapon that I would, just by looking at it, say is probably good to go. It's already ready to be made tier 9, and then tier 9 and 10 both have pretty good tier rates. Um, and it's got 64.3 DPS. This is definitely a competition weapon. I think this would qualify for, I believe, Category 4 Mayhem. So this is definitely something that's got some value to it. Also notice that prices that's reflected in the price, 7,462 PED buyout, plus the TT value, so 7,707 PED TT total buyout. So that's 700 US dollars, almost 800 US dollars for a Category 4 gun to be able to compete with. But if you did not have these damage enhancement sockets open, you couldn't compete. Now, guys, these sockets down here, they can be used for more types of enhancers than just damage enhancers. There's all kinds of enhancers out there. There's accuracy enhancers that help you hit more accurately with fewer misses. There's eco enhancers that help your item have a longer shelf life, and it slows the decay. Those are very, very useful on limited items that are uber rare with uber tier rates that have uber markup. There's limited weapons out there, or limited items out there, I should say, that could have thousands and thousands and thousands of percent markup. Well, obviously, if they've got enhancement sockets open and you can slow down that decay by using eco enhancers, it's worth doing. Most of the time, you're not going to put eco enhancers on a weapon because eco enhancers is kind of a misnomer. They don't actually save you money on most weapons most of the time, but there are exceptions to the rule for very, very rare, high tier, high markup limited weapons, right? On mining finders, you can use enhancers to extend the range or the depth that a finder is capable of. You'll see a lot of professional miners want high tier finders so that they can take them to FOMA and add enhancers to them. On armor, you guys will see that there's actually, let me see if I can find a good example of armor. There's actually armor enhancers that can enhance the durability of armor, slow the decay on armor. That's not, where is it? I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. View info. Nope. I've actually got enhancers on this one already. Yep, right here is a good example. My Holy Harness, it's limited. This is one of the ones that I use for Easter Mayhem. You'll see that I had put some Armor Defense 1 enhancers on it. Increases protection values and deterioration. So not only does it make the armor better, it slows deterioration of the armor, slows that decay, makes the armor last longer, right? So there's all different ways that you can use enhancers. The general thing that I wanted you to take away from this video is that most items, limited and unlimited, have uses for enhancers. It's a matter of getting those sockets open, right? And if you know how to read the tier values, if you know how to tell the difference between a crappy tier value like a 20 and an amazing tier value like a 3500 or a 4500, you can use that as an opportunity to potentially make some PED, or even if you can't get out of it simply making PED, to actually be able to get an item, use it, extend its shelf life, open up those tiers, and potentially sell to somebody else and essentially get free skills and free use out of it. So in later videos, we will go over one by one all the different type of enhancers that are in the game. We've already kind of covered damage enhancers and what they do, accuracy enhancers and what they do. I really want to go over those one by one, but right now the big takeaway I want you guys to have is that when you're dealing with items limited or unlimited, you're going to have an opportunity to read these tier values. And if you know how to read these tier values, you know how quickly you can open these sockets down here at the bottom. And if you play your cards right, you might be able to use that information to your advantage to potentially pick up a weapon, pick up a mining finder, pick up a piece of armor. Be sure you can keep the decay low, slow that natural decay process with extenders, hopefully, and by doing so, open up those tier sockets and then turn around and either resell at auction or in private trade preferably for a profit. So not only do you get free use, free skills, but to potentially profit in the form of actual PEDs too. So very, very useful information, something a lot of people don't talk about, something people say is just a theory. It's not a theory, guys. I've done it. I did it to win a mayhem. This gun right here is a prime example. You're not going to get to tier 10 any other way than with values this high or higher. It's just not going to happen. Not on a limited item because they deteriorate too fast. It's not a theory. It's proven. The higher the tier value is, the faster the item is going to reach that tier. That's all there is to it. It's harder to reach tier 2 than tier 1, so ideally you want these numbers to get higher the further you go. So on and so forth, right? So guys, if you manage to find a weapon, finder, armor, whatever that you can snag at a good price at market or less that's got these high tier values, throw an extender on it if you can. Use it. Don't worry about adding enhancers of any type to it. Just use it to open up those sockets. Keep the decay as absolutely minimal as you can. And then once you get to the point where you feel it's getting to where somebody's not going to want it due to the low useful life, or you don't feel it's going to reach the next tier, stop, take the the extender off, and then start putting that thing up for sale either on auction and private trade. Try and get you some free skills, some free use out of your items, and hopefully get you some actual PED back in liquid PED too. Great way to make profit. Strategy I do not see a lot of people using. Is something that I think will become more popular over time. Guys, this works great, especially around mayhem time. If you're able to stock up on weapons in between mayhems that have high tier rates and get them ready to go, especially on the lower categories like category 1, category 2, there's very, very few unlimited weapons that are high tier in category 1 and category 2. That's why I had to use nothing but limited weapons at Christmas Mayhem. There's just not a lot of people that are willing to spend the money to tier a low level unlimited weapon, right? So if you can stock up between Mayhems on limited weapons with high tiers, get those sockets open, come Mayhem, you can actually sell them for a really pretty penny. In fact, this is a strategy I'm using right now to make PED. I've got weapons that I'm currently tiering, and I'm going to be offering Mayhem winning packages where people can actually purchase a set of limited weapons that will help them do a Mayhem run, and I'm also going to be offering things like Uber rings and rare armor that they can rent during the run to potentially compete in the low-level Mayhem categories. So guys, great way to earn PED by understanding just the tier increase rates and how to open those sockets and what those sockets are used for. There's a variety of enhancers that you can use in those sockets. We'll cover those in a later episode. Right now, I just wanted you guys to take away what they are, how they do, how they function, how you open them up, kind of what the difference is between tier rates you should expect with limited and unlimited, and how you can make PED using those tier rates to your benefit. So guys, from earnped.com, I am StevieB. I appreciate you guys being here. Be sure and join us on our nightly Twitch streams, usually about 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, most nights out of the week. Also, be sure and hop over to earnped.com. We're constantly adding new guides, articles, and info to ATH, the all-time high blog. We're also happy that we're starting to be able to offer more offers to you guys in the offer section. I just added hideout.tv last night. I'm going through and adding several more categories of hideout.tv later on today. The offers are just going to keep on coming, guys. We've got a ton of really great sponsors, a ton of really great offers. If you guys have any problems with earnped.com or need information about how to play the game better or need me to explain something, by all means, I'm available. You can send me a private message. Please do send me a friend request. Something else I wanted to tell you guys about is we actually just started a society called earnped.com. It's not something I was going to do, but I had so many people request it that I finally did it. There's no society terminal anymore, so you have to find your society hotkey. Mine is F11. It looks like all the people on a blue dot. You just open up your society search for earnped.com, and bam, right there, earnped.com. Now remember, guys, it's earnped.com. There's no S in it anywhere. No S. Whenever we talk about PED, we say, I want 5,000 PED or 10,000 PED. There's no S. There's no plural. So singular, earnped.com. We're currently in pending status because I just did this earlier this morning, got all the initial invites sent out. I'm sure it'll be active by later today because I sent out like 30 invites to the 30 people who asked me to do it. But we're going to implement that in the Facebook page. We're going to implement it in the YouTube channel with some of the offers on earnped.com societybed.com. So if you don't have a society, or if you feel that your society isn't doing anything for you, feel free to send me an application over there. Everybody gets approved. The more ways we can have to be a group and communicate, the better off everybody is. Guys, I appreciate you being here. May the loot be with you. If you guys need anything, let me know. I'm always here. Customer service is big for me. I appreciate it, guys. Again, this is StevieB at Borea's Outpost, and may the loot be with you. Y'all have a great day.